Hey guys, sorry it's been so freaking long since I did a video, but, well, a lot of bull crap came up, to be quite honest. You can probably tell in the background there, that's not my TV. It's something I'm using as a replacement because my HD TV died. And I have to get a new one because I am so tired of sending that thing in every 6 months because they put in some shitty little power converter. Can't do jack shit. So, that's that. I'm giving it to Goodwill to get some money back in taxes somewhere. But regardless, there's that, and then there's me trying to get set up for school. I'm going back to school starting in January. And oh my god, this new school has just been such a pain in the ass. It's ridiculous how unprepared they are to handle a goddamn student. It's amazing. It's incredible compared to the fucking community college I went to. But I won't get into that. Maybe I'll do a video about it. I don't know. I do feel like, venting about it, but that's not what this video is for. This is my DVD and Blu-ray update video. I already did a bit of a little Blu-ray and DVD update for the 5 Awesome Studs channel, but I figured I'd do an in-depth one for you here today. In-depth! Because there's a couple new ones that I wanted to show you. So anyways, we'll start off with none other than Stephen King's The Langoliers on DVD. Now I know what you're saying. Why would you get The Langoliers, Stout Man? It's the worst movie ever, and it has the worst special effects. Well, I actually kind of like this movie. Dean Stockwell, it makes me happy. Yeah. I like the story and everything, and I like the way it goes, and I really didn't have a problem with the actors. The special effects weren't great, but it was made for TV movies, so you can't really expect them to be great, right? And I wanted to have it in my collection somewhere because I knew this is one of those movies that one of these days I'm going to want to watch. And, if you're a collector, like, you just have this feeling like if you can get something like this for cheap, so you can have it in your collection forever, for whenever you want to watch it ever in your lifetime. Here it is, so that's why I got it, and that's why it's here. The next one I got was Sunset Boulevard on DVD. Now, I was waiting to get this on Blu-ray, but they have yet to even announce if it's going to come out on Blu-ray, and it's one of those movies that I really don't want to wait for, because it's good, it's great, it's got some fantastic writing, it's about writing, and it's got fantastic writing, which, if you don't know what Barton Fink is, check that out, but, this is a great companion film to Barton Fink. Of course, watch this one first. It came first. But there is a lot that, I wouldn't say they borrow, they kind of pay homage to this film a lot in Barton Fink. There's a lot of similarities between the two. And they're both real thinker films, if you will, So, yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's black and white. Yeah, it's an old movie, but it's also freaking fantastic. You got William Holden, Gloria Swanson, Eric von Stroheim. You even get a little appearance from Cecil B. DeMille. If you don't know much about this movie, you might have heard the line, "I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille." Yes? Oh, that's where it came from, right? I think they did a update of this, kind of like they did with Cape Fear in the early 90s, but I don't remember, really. I don't think I ever saw that one. This is the one I've seen. This is the one I like. Yeah. And I would say that if you're not in a hurry to go out and get it, then probably wait for a Blu-ray release because it's one of those really popular, famous old movies that is probably eventually going to make its way to Blu-ray. So, you know, I just couldn't wait for it. But you can probably wait for it. And I don't care. Anyways, next one I got here. Rocky. Hey, yo. Adrian! Yeah, anyway. The thing about this is that, you know, when you look at... I looked at the Blu-ray.com review of this, and they said that the transfer was bad. It was all grainy and disgusting, and the colors were so dark and dreary and everything, and I'm like, yeah, that kind of sounds like Rocky. And they were complaining about the grain in the film. I'm like, that's what it's supposed to be. So you're telling me there's an MPEG 2 transfer, which this is, that has lots of grain and faithfully recreates the color scheme that was originally created and designed by the director to be used for this film. I mean, it's supposed to look grungy. I mean, look at where he lives. It's not like he lives in a fancy, palatial area or anything. This is supposed to be a gritty film. And so, gritty, grain, sounds good to me. I mean, yeah, it's an MPEG 2 transfer, but I only paid like $10 for this. Not even that, if you consider I kind of, you know, got it for free off Goozex, you know. But, about $10 worth in points is what I paid for it. And that's not a bad price for this. If it's got grainy, MPEG 2, blah, who cares if it's MPEG 2, but grainy, delicious transfer with the right color scheme, yes. If I ever saw a copy of Rocky that was all colorful and everything, I think I would be disinterested in the film entirely, because that's not what the story is about. The grit is part of the story, you know, the grit and the grime and everything, so, yeah. And it's really the only Rocky movie I've ever liked. I haven't seen the new one, but this is the only one I've ever really enjoyed, and so it's the only one I really want in my collection, so I figured $10 for my collection, Blu-ray, why not? The next one I got, King Kong, the new one on Blu-ray. And of course, a lot of people don't like this one. Peter Jackson directed one. I don't know why people don't like this. I mean, I've heard people say, well, Jack Black is just the totally wrong person for the character, and Adrian Brody, and it's just, and there's too much CGI. Why do they need CGI? And it's like, well, it's just the way the films are nowadays, you know? It's a product of its time, much like the original was a product of its time, except for, you know, it was groundbreaking. This, I don't know if I'd say it's groundbreaking, because it uses the same effects that tons of movies have been using in the past few years, you know. But, I really didn't feel like they strayed too far from the path. I felt like they stayed on track with this, and they did a really good job. And I've heard the complaints, and I just, you know, for me, I like it. You know, I don't know if I'd call it the best King Kong movie ever, but I liked it enough to buy it on Blu-ray for about $15. And this has the theatrical and extended versions of the film. And, you know, this is just one of those movies that I like to pop in on a cold night and just watch, because there's plenty of excellent scenes in it. And the next one I got, Full Metal Jacket, Stanley Kubrick, on Blu-ray. If you want to get this on Blu-ray, get this edition, this cover right here. There's a white cover too, but the white cover one really isn't in production anymore, so it'd be hard to find that anyways. But if you found the white cover one used, leave it alone. Do not pick it up. This is the one you want. This one has a good transfer. The white transfer is not good. This transfer is excellent. Want this one, and it says on the back here, the best war movie ever made. And I tend to agree. I don't know if it's like the best ever, but it's one of the better ones. And a lot of memorable scenes and great writing and everything in it. And the last Blu-ray I picked up was the Criterion Edition of the 400 Blows from Francois Truffaut, 1959. Now, if you don't know Francois Truffaut, I'm going to give you a little bit of history here, just a teeny bit, because you'll probably remember him from this movie, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Francois Truffaut he was acting in this movie, played a character. Sorry, hold on. That is Francois Truffaut. Alright? You probably remember him. He played Claude Lancôme. Yeah, anyways. He was a fantastic director. And I'm amazed that, you know, I'm not that amazed because Steven Spielberg is also a fantastic director, but it's interesting, like, as far as I know, that's one of the only films he ever acted in. And it figures that it would be a Spielberg film, you know. He's not a very Spielberg-like director, but he's one of the greats, just like Spielberg is, you know. And this is one of his greatest films ever. The 400 Blows, it's about this kid, Antoine here, who's got to deal with his mom's infidelity. His dad doesn't give a shit. Nobody seems to fucking care about anything he's doing. You see him smoking and cussing and all this shit, and he gets in trouble at school and all that junk, and, you know, they end up sending him to a, you know, a camp for boys or something like that, you know, like they had in the old days. And really, it's gritty, it's really, you know, they didn't do anything like this again in film until like the late 70s, early 80s, really. You know, the next person you see doing stuff like this would be like George Lucas' American Graffiti, you know, Spike Lee, I think, yeah. You know, because it's this, you know, it's in this time period where, you know, it's the Leave It to Beaver time period, right? Except for, what do you see this 10-year-old kid freaking doing? He's smoking cigarettes, cussing his head off like he's an adult, right? And, you know, this is a real thinker movie, honestly. If I were to have you watch two movies together and this was one of them, I'd say watch this in 2001. And that sounds a little bit odd, probably. But they're both movies you really have to think about, and when you get it, you're like, oh, I understand everything, you know? And it's the same kind of effect for this one. In the end, if you pay attention to the story, you're like, I understand everything, it makes perfect sense, oh, it's beautiful, you know? And it is a really beautiful, well done film. And the Criterion Edition, I don't know if you know Criterion Edition Blu-rays, but they are really well done Blu-rays, and so far they've, you know, they pick like the cream of the crop of the artsy-fartsy films, really. The only real movie I can think of that really wasn't an artsy-fartsy movie that made it to Criterion was Benjamin Button, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. But who can complain about having that on the Criterion Edition, right? I love this. In here they have this little thing, this little spiel about the transfer. It goes in depth saying, the 400 Blows is presented in its original aspect ratio of 2.35 to 1. Black bars at the top and bottom of the screen are normal for the format. This new high-definition digital transfer was created on a Spirit data scene from a 35mm composite fine-grained master positive. Thousands of instances of dirt, debris, and scratches were removed using the MTI digital restoration system. The soundtrack was mastered at 24-bit from a 35mm optical track, and audio restoration tools were used to reduce clicks, pops, hiss, and crackle. And it goes so far as to tell you all the telescene supervisors, the colorist, and Blu-ray mastering the people who worked on that, and there's special thanks and acknowledgement and everything. There's just tons of info, not just about the movie and about the director here, but also about the actual transfer here on Blu-ray, which is really awesome, I think, because it really allows you to see, you know, what the difference is between a good transfer done well and a bad transfer done poorly, you know. So that, I guess, is it. I mean, if you don't know a lot about some of these films, I would suggest you check them out. Except for Langoliers, I mean, that's really one that, you know, you have to be, you know, a dork like me to really like. And, you know, it's one of those, well, you love it or you hate it, right? But this is classic. You gotta see it, classic. Sunset Boulevard, classic. Gotta see it. I would expect you've seen at least some of these. Rocky, King Kong, and Full Metal Jacket. But anyways, that's my update. These are my presents to myself, I guess you would say. I'm really broke this holiday season, so I said, you know what? I get myself a present or so, a couple presents every year for Christmas. I might as well do it again and get myself the best stuff I possibly can with what little I have. And this is what I've done. So, thanks for watching. I think, oh, and thank you for all of the new subscribers. I am very appreciative for all of you for subscribing. And I think my next video might be about school. It might be about my HD TV dying. It might be about, I don't know. But I hope to do another one at least before Christmas, if not much earlier. So, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.